Hi, welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. Today we have New York Times bestseller Tal Ben-Sharar about his newest book, Choose the Life You Want. So I was thinking about you and this book, Tal, and I was thinking, when was the first time I decided when I wanted to be happy? Because in your book you talk about achieving one of your goals, which was a championship. Is it national championship? Is that right?
National Squash Championship of Israel.
Yeah, and you thought, okay, now I'm going to be happy, and instead there was a moment of, no, that lasted for a moment, and now I'm not happy still. Or was that, how would you describe that moment?
Yeah, it was a moment that I'd been dreaming about, fantasizing about for years and years, and through the difficult times and a lot of unhappiness, I thought, well, that's okay, because when I get there, then I'll be happy.
Yes.
And then I got there, and I was very happy, in fact, ecstatic for about 3 or 4 hours. And after that, it was gone. And this time the despair was even deeper, because before I was sustained by the illusion that winning a championship or attaining some goal will make me happy. And it didn't. And I no longer had the illusion. Or, I tried to pose another illusion. Well, if I win the world championship. But it didn't really work.
Yeah.
Neither winning the world championship nor becoming happy.
Yeah. And that was probably, I actually had a very similar aha, because I was driving in the car and my husband and I were talking about Thanksgiving, and I said, well, this is going to be a really busy month because we have this and this and this, and I have this long laundry list of things, and then we can relax, that kind of idea. And there's this kind of illusion myself, which is, after I get my list of to-dos done and the crazy month will be over, then I'll be happy and relax. And then I started looking month after month, and I thought, actually, the whole year is this way. This is life. If I don't start figuring out how I can be happy in this very moment, then, I'm kind of, I don't know if we are doomed, but I thought I got to start figuring this out. And so I started joining a life coaching program, because everyone always told me, you should be a coach, you should be a coach. This is before life coaching was really popular. So I started doing that, and ever since I've been studying the idea of how to be happy. And one of the things I love about your book, Choose the Life You Want, 101 Ways to Create Your Own Road to Happiness, is that it's a distillation of my I would say my 10 years of studying this, which feels a little bit depressing, frankly. That you just summarized my years of work. I could have just gotten this book and 292 pages later been done. Instead, I've read I don't know how many books I've had to read on this topic.
I wish that it were that easy. There are no shortcuts, and we have to go through the 5, 10, or 20 years.
Yeah.
And we're still not done after the 20 years. It's a lifelong process, and we continue to grow with every book, with every experience, with every failure and success.
Yeah. Yeah. So one question for you. So happiness, how do you define it? Because it's such a subjective kind of a feeling. Like when someone says, how do you know you love someone? It's like you feel it. How do you know you're happy? So how do you define what happiness is?
Yeah, so there are many definitions to happiness, and the one that I work with and I've found to be most useful is one where happiness is a combination of meaning and pleasure.
Is there any scientific measure for happiness? I mean, is there a scientific description?
Yeah, well, there's actually a lot of science around happiness today, and it's called positive psychology. And what positive psychology does is it brings the rigor of the scientific method and applies it to some of the most important questions that we've asked, and we've asked throughout history. Questions such as, what is happiness? How can we become happier? And we can measure happiness today. So whether it's through questionnaires or through brain scans, we actually know what a happy brain looks like, or a depressed brain looks like. And we can introduce interventions that change the way our brain functions, and as a result, the way we feel and experience life.
So you're looking at the brainwave patterns? Is that what you're looking at to figure out
Um,
what does a happy
le-
brain look
le-
like?
well, less that we look at areas in the brain that become activated. Just to give an example, so we know that more activation in the left part,
Hmm.
left front part of the brain. More activation there means people who are generally happier. More activation on the right part of the what's called the prefrontal cortex means more likelihood of depression or sadness.
Wow,
And
fascinating.
through certain interventions, we can actually change the ratio between the two sides and get more activation on the quote unquote happy side, less on the
Yeah.
depressed side.
Yeah. So are the interventions the kind of interventions from this book or something different when you were talking about positive psychology having
Yeah.
interventions?
Yeah, many are from this book because one of the interventions that we know has a real effect and lasting effect is mindfulness.
Ah,
And in many ways, this book is about being mindful of the choices that we make, mindful of our emotions, mindful of the words we utter or listen to. So
hmm.
mindfulness is very big in terms of changing our susceptibility, so to speak,
Right.
to positive emotions and resilience in the face of painful ones.
Right.
Exactly.
So there are 101, which I found humorous that there's 101. Like, why not 100? But but
Uh,
but how did you come up with the ideas in this book?
it could have been 1,001. It could have been five. Because there are infinite choices. We have a choice at every moment in our life. That's the basic
Yes.
premise of the book. My previous book I wrote about the big choices that we have.
Hmm.
Do I choose work that is meaningful and pleasurable to me? Do I choose a partner
Hmm.
where we can build a life to? These are big, or a career. These are big choices, or what to study in university or school. Um, but it's not just the big choices that make up a happy or an unhappy life, for that matter. It's also the very small choices. So right now, I have a choice of how I sit. Do I sit down stooped, or do I sit up straight? And this little choice makes a big difference in how I feel. Do I choose to breathe deeply right now, not tomorrow, right now?
Hmm.
Can make a very big difference in how I feel. Whether I choose to be grateful right now for what I have, or do I choose to take it for granted or ignore what I have in my life? These are small choices, but there are choices that I equate, each one being a brick, and these bricks add up to form the road,
Right.
the road of the path of my life.
Yeah. What is it? The was it Lao Tzu who said, 10,000 steps just, begins with one step.
Yeah,
And so,
right.
I think it's the same thing with choices and decisions, right?
Exactly. It's the small choices that make up a moment. It's the moments that make up an hour, and an hour that hours make up a day.
Yeah.
And and Annie Dillard, the author, said, how we live our days is how we live our lives.
Absolutely. And I love the way that we began, which is I think that somehow we have this idea of postponing. We'll postpone and get to our happiness, but it could be here right at this very moment in time.
Whoever came up with the word present was a genius,
Yeah.
because that is the essence, really. The gift of the moment.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think we have a choice to be there every single moment, including this very moment now.